And we are back on the draw for round two. And I think I'm pretty happy with this. It's got the it's got the curve. It just needs to draw a land, and since we're on the draw, we can presumably do so. It's a pretty brutal curve if the top two cards of our deck are land. We can go Free Blade into Knigget into Void Mage. So I think that's a pretty easy keep. No turn one play, which is nice. We'll see if we can get our Free Blade going. Miss a 2-drop? No, you don't miss a 2-drop in this format. Bone to Ash, a bit of a disappointment. Oh, but it could get good later. Yep, I would attack into that too. As long as you have something to block. Now, that said, we could draw something to just get that right out of the way. So, plays this turn are limited to, but also include playing this and taking 5 next turn, which I don't super love. Like, presumably he's going to block here, and we discard the Bone to Ash and be fine with it. And then we've still got a Knight of the Pilgrim's Road to follow up with our Separatist Void Mage, which I think is probably worth it. Like, I guess this is not exactly super happy, but we are trading a 2-drop for a 3-drop and a card. So I'll take it for what it is. Hangerback Walker, he says. It seems like something I'd like to bounce. Sadly, we don't get in after we bounce it, and then he probably just replays it. The good news is he's a bit stuck on land, so we can get in some hits. We may just want him to pump it a little bit before we bounce it. And Knightly Valor looks really good on this dude. What if I bounce this and then play this? That's just terrible. So maybe I just go Charging Griffin and let him get in a few more pumps, because it's when it dies, right? Yeah, it's not when it's returned to its owner's hand or something like that. So let's just get our Griff going, and we may be able to ignore that for a little bit. I mean, he could, you know, rip a land, pump it, Fleshbag Marauder it, but I kind of like letting him invest a lot of mana into it and then bouncing it later. And if he misses his next land and we hit ours, we've got a Knightly Valor Charging Griffin. Yeah, that just seems too good to pass up. Do you want to trade this for a 2-drop now? Probably, as he's still missing on lands. He can conceivably trade it for that and get some chump blockers. But if he's using his Hangerback Walker to chump, I'm probably alright with it. The reason I'm trading this now is it lets the Knight get in potentially next turn if we do the block. Or it draws out a trick. Either way is absolutely fine by me. He's kind of got to deal with that Griffin pretty quickly. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to. So I think I'd rather Sentinel than Void Mage here. This is kind of how I'd envisioned this deck working out. Bone to Ash was great this game. It gave us something to discard to the Deadbridge Shaman. I'm not going to tap the Hangerback Walker because we're going to probably bounce it and swing in for lots and lots of damages. So I think that means we're just going to, when we move to combat, tap the Elite. Depends, he might play a flyer or something and we'd rather tap that. And Tuco Husk, I think I'd rather tap that. Downside is that gives him a few turns of sacking this to get blockers. The upside is he probably can't get away with it now. He can make this, potentially pump this and trade everything for this and go to 5. I think this is where I bounce this guy. The other interesting argument is maybe I just bounce the Dwynen's Elite. Yeah, Husk was a particularly bad one for us. So he's going to get 4 flyers when he sacks that. Which he can really only use to chump block this. So if I play this, all I'm doing is making him sack it. If I play this guy, we're not quite forcing lethal because he can block and sack. So it may be time just to do this before he gets more on the board. Kind of wish I bounced it earlier now. Nantuko Husk is definitely a thing. So he did manage to get his guys out of it, which is fine. I think that means we can attack with the Griffin and the Knight, as I'll trade this for 2 tokens or for that guy. And it gives him just enough tokens not to be able to do anything to the Griffin but chump block it. Alright. Going to 5 seems nice. He's got plenty of chumpsies. If he's got a removal spell for our Sentinel, we're in big trouble. Conclave Naturalist. Well, that just gets rid of the Knightly Valor, which, while being a thing, is also kind of not a thing. Like, we're not in danger of dying now. We just don't have great attacks. Like, now all we've done is just slowing the game really down. So if we attack with this, he trades it for 3 of those, and then doesn't have enough to trade with the Sentinel. So that's a thing. He does have gas, though, which is also a thing. So I don't know that I want to make that trade. We're putting ourselves to the point where a removal spell on this guy is pretty bad. But we've got some good rips. May just be time to be patient. He can potentially hit for 12 if we let the Nantuko Husk through. We could potentially tap the Naturalist instead. Let him attack with the Husks or potentially block with the Husks and trade it off for this. That might be better. We'll see what happens when we get to combat. I'm not willing to attack with this guy and trade it for 3 tokens. But I think tapping the Naturalist lets us attack with more stuff, potentially. We'll see. Don't have a fight spell. Stop with the fight spells. I needed to block that. Alright. We're going to need Grasp of the Hieromancer to finish this off. He traded away the Husk, which was the creature I was the most worried about. So I suppose that's good. Stratus Walk, oddly enough, is somewhat threatening on this guy. It's not great, though. Leaves us no blockers, but gives us another attacker. I guess we play it. We need to draw the card, too. And a Turn to Frog is probably worth having. I think we just go off to the races now. If he's got another Might of the Masses, we're in a little bit of trouble. But I don't think we play around the second one. Of note, Turn to Frog does not foil Might of the Masses. It still gets the +3/+3. I think what's happening here is we're just trading tokens for that, and we're putting him on a relatively quick clock when we have some draws. It also means if he tries to do a fight spell to kill our guy, we can at least, well, not foil it at all, because that gives +2/+2. Oh, you've got a spider. All right. Well, we can Turn to Frog to foil that. And then take another 5 going to 8. We're not winning that race. what we need to draw to get out of this. Grasp of the Hieromancer starts to do it pretty well. I can't actually block with this anymore. So we can either prevent a damage by getting in and killing this thing, presumably. Although he could just decide to swing back for 6. We could also find a way to negate this in some manner. I think I still like the attack with the turn to frog trick, although it's close. Like, this makes Disciple of the Ring a little bit better if we rip that. Playing it a little close to try to finish him out. But I think we're going to have to rip another card to get it done. Basically, it's Suppression Bonds and we're back in it. Disciple of the Ring and we're back in it. Spider kind of eats our breakfast, and Island isn't an actual solution to that. May have gotten too aggressive just because I got his life total so low. That essentially puts us dead, although he doesn't know for sure that we're dead. I thought we could get him on the back of that mana screw, but alas, it was not the case. Alright. So green-black big stuff. All of the cards that he has make me like Stratus Walk a bit less, as we've seen multiple main deck to reach creatures from him. So I'm not super happy with those. We could try the Calculated Dismissal again since we're going on the play, like get a few things out and counter a big thing. I think I like that, even though I generally speaking dislike counter spells. He did see one too, which hurts a little bit. And Nivix Barrier can actually be another foil to the spider, but so is Suppression Bonds, so is Disciple of the Ring for a couple turns. He actually managed to beat a Sentinel. I'm kind of proud of him. I would like to play first, but not with that hand. This one we can keep. We could live the dream of Nightly Valoring a Starfish, which really I know is what all of you want to see. There's an argument for running out the guard first and getting in a few points of damage, but I don't really see the value there. I'd rather have the Scry here because we kind of need to hit lands. Island is not the land we want to hit, but it may be the land we need to hit. Yeah. I'd rather have the Disperse / Bone to Ash option coming up here in a little bit. That's not a problem. Yeah, now we've got Bone to Ash up. I guess we just sit back. We can potentially discard this Disperse if we need to make that trade. I'm not opposed to that. We can also take the 3, because Island off the top puts us in pretty good shape. Island, I mean Plains, obviously. I think I just take this first 3 as I don't really want to discard anything yet. And our life total's not super in jeopardy. Whatever this is, I'm countering it if I can, but I can't, so that's fine. He's dealing damage to himself. It's getting better. Alright, Plains one time. Alright. So I think we pretty easily play this on our Scryfish and make a house. Not really. I'll put it here. (3/5) Vigilance seems pretty hard to beat. Although again, he could Conclave Naturalist here and we're sad. But if we can just get through this one turn. We'll have up Bone to Ash. We'll have up Disperse. Of course, he has the Naturalists. I think we're going to have to toss the Disperse and keep up Bone to Ash. Which means we can probably just lose this guy. This is kind of a sad way to go. It was going so well. We got to resolve Nightly Valor. Aren't we supposed to just get to win? Knight of the Pilgrim's Road. I can cast that, but I can't hold up Bone to Ash, which is again the issue with Bone to Ash. And I don't want to double block when my opponent has 6 cards in hand. I don't think that's what I want here. Island certainly isn't. But I guess we play it and just look hopeless and hope our opponent slams his spider and we counter it and draw something great. That's kind of the only shot we've got. Is him running a giant creature into obvious counter magic. Yeah, he's baiting us here, but we have to take it. Could have scryed first. Chose not to because not really sure why. Didn't matter. I've got to get a little tighter about that sort of thing. Guard doesn't really get us there. The life total is equal now. I suppose that's a thing. He might be concerned about another counterspell, but he really shouldn't be. He's just very likely to jam the spider here and we're dead. Although Suppression Bonds does start to do a thing there. This is again showing the power of Conclave Naturalist. Or then again, he may just not have anything. That's fine. These guys are just fantastic. Like, that was part of the sequence that let him deal with our Sentinel. The Nantuko Husk being able to take care of the... You know, if I had tapped the Hangerback Walker that time and then bounced the Nantuko Husk, we might have had a much better shot at that. Yeah, I think I played that one wrong. His vision is scary. Yeah, I think looking back, if I had done that a little differently, we would have been in that. Separatist Void Mage doesn't do a whole lot, but I mean, it bounces that. I guess it's better than nothing. Would I trade this for his 2/2? Probably. But the idea is we were wanting to build up enough power to be able to block that, so I guess not. We've got to be careful about playing enchantments now because we know that he has that. And it's possible he just sits on it forever, but we're not beating it as it is. I'd rather just make him not have attacks and try to stall this out, get our Sentinel online. What a Valorous Knight. Like, the worst sequence for us is he slams Spider here. Of note, he has 7 cards in hand. We Suppression Bonds it, and then he plays the damn... I kind of have to trade this here, otherwise he just gets free Eye Blight value with this. But he plays the Sentinel, the Spider, we draw Suppression Bonds, and then we're just kind of done. Okay, Might of the Masses, that's not bad. Glad to get that out of his hand. We want to just see him replay that Conclave Naturalists. Not the Spider. Not a giant Hangerback either. Island is no bueno. Jessian Thief is also pretty bad. Things are not looking good. So again, we know he has the Eye Blight Assassin, but I think we kind of have to threaten the gang block on this guy. Like, I'm not really sure how we're dealing with it otherwise, if at all. He probably has another trick, but I guess show it to me? We can take the 2. The opportunity to get rid of half of a Hangerback Walker for 1 card is pretty good. Then we could presumably stabilize with a Charging Griffin. The number of cards we have to top deck is getting smaller and smaller as he has a full grip. Stop tapping that mana. Just be naturalists. Okay. That's a start. Blow up an artifact. It'd be nice if you would. Yeah, go ahead and pop it. I'm going to go ahead and scry so we can F6. There's no point sitting around here. Don't want that island. Watercourser is actually a pretty good draw. I mean, it doesn't solve our Air Force issues, but it does solve the Conclave Naturalists. So if we can find a flyer somewhere in our top cards, we're in pretty good shape. Alright, that's a smart attack from him. So blocks have to be something like here. We'd like to ideally double block this, but we can't. So he's going to get value off his little dude. I guess we could do this and double block here and here. That way we're at least killing the damn thing. That seems reasonable. Leaves us taking the least damage. Lets us get our scry again next turn. It's not so bad. Oh, we're just dead. Well, we are taking down that Conclave Naturalist. And we're scrying. Because we can. That's funny, without the planes. We could have left him with an Elvish Visionary and us with all this stuff. I guess one stuff, but maybe that wasn't even that good. Ah, well. I suppose it's actually quite fitting that since my first video for this channel was a first round loss, that my second video for this channel be a second round loss, and then presumably the third video will lose in the third round, and hopefully on the fourth one we'll actually get a victory through. I don't think the deck was that bad. I think that was a pretty fatal play error in game one. I'll be interested to go back and rewatch that. It didn't occur to me to potentially bounce the Shade, and I think that might have been the go-to play. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Simulin for me. And you'll see the link there to the other Strictly Better Gaming folks. And I will join you again with another video in the near future. Have a good one, my friends.